Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. You're not Toddy One Skip. I'm Toddy One Skip, and you're not Toddy One Skip. I'm Toddy One Skip. You're not Toddy One, and I'm not Ken Urker, and thank God for that because I'd be a moron. Guys, let's just pretend that it's a normal family. The Urkers, Ukers, whatever, and the Blanchards. Let's just pretend they're normal, and let's just pretend that we found out that Rod has real concerns about his daughter. Let's pretend his daughter was anybody but Gypsy Rose. He has real concerns about his daughter and his granddaughter. I would. If somebody were to say to me, so the reason why we're not going out on the water is what? Because of lightning? Because, what, we might get struck? Is that why? Is that the only reason why we're not going out? Have you ever been struck by lightning? That's what Rod says very casually. And he can't quite believe it. This is after his soon-to-be son-in-law. Somebody that he said he wasn't crazy about. Last season, remember? He thought he was up to no good. Thought Ryan was a good guy. Not so much Ken. That the idiot, I think he calls him, left his wallet in the store in the morning before they went fishing. And then I think, it was important to Rod. He had said it was important to him that his grandchild, understand the importance of the Cajun culture because they're Cajuns. Ken's not a Cajun. Ken's talking about Seattle, Washington, upstate, in Washington State, because he thinks that there's kind of orcas that are right there in the bayou. And they're not. They're porpoise. They're dolphin. Like flipper dolphin. Not the fish. But he was like, they're orcas, right? They're orcas. Okay, I understand. And he does not want anybody to think he's an idiot. So he makes a point of saying, man, in Washington State, they would be orcas. I don't know. Maybe there were dolphins in Washington State and he just called them orcas. And nobody said, yo, man, those are fucking flipper dolphins, man. Dolphins. But who knows? Maybe he doesn't know the difference between porpoise and whale. Orca, whale, orca. So there's a few things. And then he kind of, believe it or not, he does. He mocks some of the Cajun stuff. I don't know what they're talking about half the time. I don't understand the words. And then he, at some point on the boat, tries to mimic, I guess, and he fails greatly. After your soon-to-be dad-in-law says, the Cajun culture is important, it's important. In the meantime, it was only the second time that Ken fished, and that's bad to me, because if you don't fish in my family, what? Huh? They kick your ass out. So, yeah. And I think we all know the difference between dolphin, porpoise, and the whales. But I digress. The fact that the guy had to figure out why they weren't going out on the water because of lightning, and if it was just because lightning might strike them, the way that was worded was, is that quite enough? Is the threat of that enough? Rod's like, yeah, man, you've been struck by it lately. And his soon-to-be mother-in-law or stepmother-in-law is sitting there just, she can't help him. She cannot help the fact that Ken looks as stupid as he does. So Rod would have to worry about who's taking care of his daughter and who's taking care of his granddaughter when it comes to things like that, because very well he might be, when you go out, when you hear lightning and you hear thunder, you might want to go outside, put your hand up in the air, and stand by the closest tree. Let's just see what happens. So, I understand now. I totally understand now why Ken is with Gypsy. Because, if you did have a massive amount of brains, would you be with Gypsy? Would you impregnate Gypsy? No, I don't think so. So, the fact that you're willing to take on money and make yourself look stupid is something that's just, and he makes himself look or seemed to look proud in this episode where his family's coming to go ahead and, come to the baby shower, and the little company that made the cookies. Please, nobody hassle this little company that made the cookies, because they just made the cookies and were trying to get their name out there. Probably not the way that they wanted their name out there, especially since the FOIAs have come out, and this company that allowed them to have Gypsy goes to this place that, her sister more or less is kind of designing the baby shower. And the place, the money that they use, it goes to help people and stuff like that. And, some of this stuff is just... So, it's like, they're there to help people. Like, that's kind of weird, because Gypsy's never helped anybody except herself. And she's taken from everybody, basically. But anyway, so she tells this company, listen, if I come here, the backlash, there's going to be backlash. No, there's going to be pissed off people, Gypsy, because of what you've done and said. Everything is scrutinized because of your behavior, because of what you said. I love Ryan. Ken, it's too late. He comes sniffing around. If you weren't with me at the worst, you ain't gonna be with me at the best. Bullshit. And I call bullshit again. So, again, we can't go by what Gypsy says. We only have to go by what we see. And what we see is just a shit show. And I didn't understand why Ken was involved before, but after he showed himself and how just stupid he is, I totally can understand that. And I can clearly say that because those of you that don't know, lightning will strike if you are out on the water, if you are under a tree. You shouldn't be outside when there is lightning strikes, let alone on the water where it would appear to be like a magnet. You would think that Ken came from a different time and place to not know that, because as far as I know, anywhere on Earth, if it's lightning, you're not supposed to be outside. Just so you know. I guess that's my PSA, huh? You're not supposed to be outside. So I think, basically, that Gypsy and Ken were made for each other. It's a match made in heaven. And it was just a little bit of what went on in the boringest episodes of the boringest show, Life After Lockup Season 2. I think this was episode 5. And there's more to it, but this was just like prime. You mean we're not going to go out on the boat just because of the lightning strike? Is that why? Because we're afraid to get struck by lightning? Yeah, isn't that good enough? Guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your day. I really appreciate it, guys. Please like, subscribe, and share, and be better today than you were yesterday. Not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. Thanks.